We've just moved back below extreme greed to greed, which is at 75 or greater. We still may flirt with extreme greed some more if we try to bump above the 9-count highs from Monday. A lot of complacency right now. If we see the market pop up a little bit higher, we could see the VIX come back and hit this trend line. We keep hitting it. We gapped higher. Monday got a doji, stalled at the 20 period. We're back now here at the 10 period moving average, slightly below it, the red line right there. And again, forming this bullish diversion. So if we do come back down, the S&P could still try to pop up a little higher for a few more days. If my signals continue to be bullish, buy the market more time. We have that a positive seasonality right now for the month of July. Now, this doesn't always play out. It was wrong. In March, we kept going and dropping until we hit the April low. Always right. But again, this could be suggesting rally drags on a little bit longer. Next week, we'll be getting the CPI. If it lasts that long, I've told you, I've been expecting the inflation data to start rising, which now just moving off of our lows there with the CPI was a headline number. I'm watching this divergence on the VIX coming back to fill the gap here. We may do it on a closing basis and come back to this trend line right here. You've got the bullish divergences setting up on the MACD and the RSI. Stochastic has got one down here. It may roll back over, but then you may see a takeout move where we go higher to lull the retail investors into a false sense of security before you get a massive rug pull. The bands are tightening, telling us something's coming down the pike. But I am seeing warning signs like divergences right here. We're likely going to get a sell-off. Again, very similar to the February top over here. Here we're forming multiple point diversions, currently a triple divergence. 10-year yield is broken out. It's getting a topping tail. If it pulls back a little bit, we could see the market still try to claw its way to a little bit higher levels. The Gravestone Doji on the 10-year today after breaking out. Sorry, my trend line moved on me there a little bit, but because I zoomed in. But we could see this pull back a little bit, still try to move above the 9-count high from Monday. Well, I am looking for a top. I have not yet called a top. Still looking to play the divergence in the 2-minute time frame, trying to flip the trade with that. Be completely wrong, but I'm looking to sell into the rally and flip the trade still long. Start turning, then we peaked on Thursday. I don't think that there's enough evidence to say that that is in fact the case. The S&P trend is still bullish. The risk on is still risk model. The risk on is still in place. Diverging, just like other indicators are diverging. It's not moving to a new low, but it's getting a higher low as the S&P makes a higher high. But again, we could still overthrow our 9-count from Monday. Rule that out. Peaked, I need to see more evidence of that. Wrong in that we did go just a little bit higher, those 60-minute charts, but if we've peaked, I got to see evidence of that. I don't see enough evidence of it. The time is short. I think that here with risk on is suggesting that. Now, again, as I continue to point out in every single video, my signals remain bullish. The trend signals likely turn bearish with the momentum signals or just after the momentum signals, but right now the signals still remain bullish. Still got a shot at one more push higher. The signals all begin to start flipping. Momentum and trend signals. There's another one of my signals still bullish at this point. I am getting warning signs that I should be looking for a top here. Now, right here, this could mark Thursday as a peak, or we can go a little bit higher in turn, but price is getting tired. P daily here. Most part, signals aren't really showing any concern yet, except the divergences that are developing. Signals remain bullish. Getting a warning sign that momentum here of a short-term top. This is just looking at short-term momentum that could either be a top or just a smaller pullback. Warning me, hey, on the lookout for some kind of pullback or reversal. The momentum line is still bullish, but you've got this triple negative divergence developing on momentum. Trend signals still remain bullish. The momentum line is still bullish. So again, in order to have a top for Thursday, we got to see momentum flip and then see the trend signals. There's still the possibility that we try to go a little higher. My intraday cloud is still bullish. Again, we have the divergences that are forming here, but we may end up turning back up and getting a divergence in this most recent price action. I've been talking about the RSI on the hourly chart. The same thing right here, end up getting one more pop higher. But again, it's all turned bearish. That may be all she wrote. But right now, I still think you've got a shot at that triple divergence developing on the RSI as I've been talking about. In order for the S&P to top, we got to see momentum turn bearish. Then we got to see all my trend signals begin to turn bearish. My trend signals are still bullish. Please support the channel with the link directly below that allows me to be able to provide you this information. If you like the charts, you like the indicators, let me know that by supporting the channel today. Just follow the link below to take you to a secured site. You can donate any amount you want. You know you want this information and that you like this information. It takes a lot of effort, I should say time and effort, to do this. A lot involved in it. I'm just showing you the things I look at every day. There's a lot of work in making a video to present this to you. Please support the channel. Partner with me. Let me know you want this information. Follow the link below to take you to a secured site and you can donate any amount you want or make it a recurring donation. Thank you for your consideration for that. But my signals are still bullish for now. We'll see if that changes. But right now, trend signals are still bullish. We have the Dow down 0.37%, down 166 points, rounding up. The S&P was flat, down 0.07%, down 4.5 points to close at 62.25. The NASDAQ was flat as well, up 0.30%. So was NASDAQ 100, by the way. It was also flat. The Russell was up 0.66%. The VIX was down 5.5% to close at 16.18. Markets are complacent right now. After the market closed, Trump announced that the tariff letters that were going out, and this week we got the announcement of the tariff rates. And this is a negotiating tactic by the Trump administration to try to get these countries to come and make a deal. There's complacency. Trump's not going to go through with this, and you have this complacency. Eventually, this date, trading partners, maybe those that serious about making a deal with the United States, this date could stick. It could get paused. A portion of the countries negotiating could get paused, go into the future. But at some point in the coming months ahead, maybe the summer, maybe on into the early fall or something, at some point, countries are either going to have a tariff rate that has been set by the United States if they don't want to negotiate in good faith, or they're going to have a deal, one or the other. It's going to come to a conclusion. People are underestimating Trump, that he's not going to go through with all of this. Again, he's using tariffs. He's using the tariffs as a bargaining chip, try to end up getting the tariffs removed in the United States and unlock markets for U.S. companies. That's where the media has it backwards. They think Trump wants tariffs. If he wanted tariffs, he wouldn't negotiate. The media has everything backwards. That's why they've been wrong about everything. Eventually, again, I think you're going to see a sell-off. There's complacency right now. Now we have this down here. Trump threatens to impose a 200% on pharmaceuticals very soon. So again, you're going to see the tariffs end up rattling the market. We could still go a little bit higher, because there is complacency right now. And again, maybe the divergences, as I said over the weekend, are still not done. I'm assured at some point, see them complete. Now, again, if they go on just a little bit longer, well, maybe we have our favorable seasonality. We're likely going to see a peak at some point here in the not too distant future here in July. It may last a few more days. My signals begin to turn bearish, then possibly today's peak. I told you in yesterday's video, over the weekend, we still may not be done with the divergences. We still may push up just a little higher. But even if all or some of the tariffs that are set to begin on August 1st, even if some are delayed or all are delayed, at some point in the coming months ahead, countries are going to have either tariffs imposed by the United States, or they're going to have a deal with the United States, one or the other. That's what people fail to understand. This isn't going to go on forever. These negotiations, either people are going to hammer out a deal or they're not. Don't, then here's what your tariff rate is. We already have tariffs with other deals that have been made with other countries. Again, you're probably going to see tariffs, at least some tariffs, stick around. Eventually, that's going to be blamed when we see blamed on inflation rising when we see inflation begin to tick back up. No, it's going to go back up because there's been an increase in the money supply. That's what causes inflation, not tariffs. If tariffs cause inflation, then why do we have deflation during the 1920s and 30s, not hyperinflation? Now, yesterday we got the red oscillator bar on the NASDAQ. Today we get it on the S&P 500. As I've talked about, sometimes you get these red bars, the first, second, third red bar, and you still end up popping higher. It is possible that we peaked last Thursday, but I would need to see more evidence of that. If we start getting evidence of that with momentum turning bearish, then spilling over into the trend signals and them turning bearish as well, and that's all she wrote. Right now, momentum isn't even bearish yet. A bearish reversal of conditions. We're still above the 10-period moving average. Now, as I said in yesterday's video, I'm not going to show you the chart. Go watch yesterday's video if you didn't see it. If NVIDIA can reach the trend line that I've been talking about higher, then the NASDAQ might join it. NASDAQ 100 was flat today. It was up 0.07%, up almost 17 points. It does try to exceed Thursday's high, just beyond the 9 count, if it can get some help with NVIDIA hitting that trend line. If it can't, then we need to see evidence of that. Sometimes NASDAQ and S&P diverge at tops and bottoms, not always. Sometimes they do. Other times, they do the same thing. New lows or make new highs. If the triple divergence is not quite done, as I've been talking about on the MACD here on the Awesome Oscillator, the MACD has not yet rolled over yet. When it does, the divergence is likely going to be done. Thursday's high holder, we go a little higher. I've been talking about these areas. Today, the S&P joins the NASDAQ and getting a red bar on the Awesome Oscillator. Again, we've got a triple divergence right here. That could mark Thursday's high as the top. I've said we don't have enough evidence for that. I have not called a top. I've said I'm looking for a top. Still long. I'm still looking to sell into the rally. If we start turning, play momentum signals or trend signals, don't get another pop higher, but I am looking to sell into the rally, and I told you I've been watching 9 count in the weekly time frame and the 13.9 in the daily very closely for those to set up. But again, my signals are still bullish. Great Scott, did you hear what I just said? Some people don't hear that. I say it in every single video, and my signals, which are correct, remain bullish. Do you think the divergences will end up giving us a reversal? Now we're in the positive seasonality. Do we buy a little bit more time? Maybe. My signals are still bullish. Am I expecting a top? Am I looking for a top? Yes. Why? Because we have negative divergences that are developing on indicators. This isn't rocket science. Still above the 10-period moving averages. If we're going to turn, we got to take out the 10-period moving averages. We got to flip the cloud to red. We got to flip the bars to red if this is done. I still think you got a shot at pushing higher and forming that triple divergence on the 60-minute chart. I told you I've been looking to take a trade off of the 60-minute chart with the divergence over the weekend. Do yesterday, again, the divergence may not be done. A red bar here. Again, still no rollover on the MACD. The stochastic is, but it can remain at extremes for an extended period of time. I'm going to be watching. Do we try to bounce still? That's all she wrote. I'm looking for clues. So while markets are complacent at the moment, again, that could change instantly. We got the 13.9 here. Now, it is possible that the 13 count, the 8 bar of the 9 count on Thursday, our abbreviated session, is possibly the peak of the count. It's too early to tell. Signals are still bullish. I am looking for a peak here. I've told you we still might get one more push higher. Oftentimes you'll get a 9 count and you'll go just a little bit higher. Other times you turn immediately. This is saying, hey, the days are numbered. As you know, I still think we're probably going to get a triple divergence developing on the 60-minute chart. I could be wrong about that. If we start seeing momentum start turning bearish, we start seeing trend signals start turning bearish, then maybe that's all she wrote. We had clear evidence of a bottom down here on April 7th at key support. Here we are, these signals, but we don't have clear evidence the top is in yet. That's what I'm saying. We still might. And we've seen a little bit of a sell-off. Market's really kind of shrugging things off for the most part. Trump's bluffing and not going to happen. I think Trump's going to end up being the catalyst to rattle markets here. In the 10-year yield rise. It's about tariffs, concerns about government spending levels. We saw the national debt today hit a brand new record high. At some point, I think we're going to pull back here, but like I said, we've got these triple divergences on the daily chart. See that here on the awesome oscillator. We end up trying to push just a little bit higher, or is that all she wrote? We still got a shot at getting a one more push higher. Could be wrong about that. Regardless which way it plays out, I am looking for a top here in the very near future if we don't have it already from Thursday's high. That same 9 count on Monday on the NASDAQ. So again, we're watching. Do we see a peak here and start to turn, or do we get one more pop just above this area? Again, sometimes these counts you see turns immediately. Other times go just a little bit higher. Again, there is complacency right now in the market. Does that allow us to go higher? And let me tell you this. Listen carefully. If we do go a little higher, it's going to lull the retail investors, the herd, into a false sense of security. Oh, it hasn't happened yet. Trump made the announcement with the tariff letters. We got the tariff rates. It didn't happen already, so it's not going to happen. The herd buys into that kind of thinking all the time. I'm watching this gap on the 5-minute chart. I'm watching this gap right here at 62.79 on the S&P 500. That was our gap lower on Monday. Dropped below the 200 period. Up and tested it a few times today. You got to be able to get back above that 200 period, I should say. Black line's the 200 period. Got to get back above it and stay above it. Got a clear gap resistance here if we're going to try to fill this gap. You always want to watch a gap. Is it a gap and go, where we gap down and we just keep going in that direction and we fill this at a later date? Is it a gap and go? Is it a gap and fill, where you come back up, you fill the gap, and then you resume the decline? In this case, the direction is down. Or a gap and trap, where you gap down, but then you end up going and making a higher high above this level. That is a gap and trap, which is this. We shall soon see. We're going to go higher. We're got to get back above that 200 period moving average. So we'll be watching the gap at 62.79. And on the 15-minute chart, we still may see a larger divergence building upon this one if we try to go higher. Very similar to this before we had a kind of a sideways corrective move. Or we may just set up a brand new divergence, but that could set up a triple divergence on the 60-minute chart, as I've been talking about. If we go down further, you get to 200 period moving average here, and then you might set up a larger divergence. We had one on the 5-minute chart right there. Some indicators here in the 15-minute time frame, but the MACD doesn't have one. You might end up getting one if we get one more push down and then try to recover and go back up and fill that gap and maybe make new highs. Notice we're under the 50 period moving average. We're stalling at the 200 in the 5-minute time frame, the 50 period here in the 15-minute time frame. Holding below the cloud. You got to get back above that 50, back above the cloud if we're going to try to fill this gap and try to go up and challenge the high that we had from last Thursday. I told you over the weekend we had a divergence here on the 60-minute chart, but I told you it may not be done yet. We might have a divergence more in the more recent price action. Still may be the case. It still may be that we have wave 4. We've got a 1, 2, 3, 4, and now we get a 5. And we get one more push above those 9 counts. It may not play out that way if we start taking out the 50 here, the green line, in the 60-minute time frame. If we start taking out the 10 period moving average in the daily time frame. I want you to see, does a triple divergence develop here? If we see momentum signals begin to turn bearish, then maybe the move is done here, as I've said, but I still think that this is a strong possibility. I could be completely wrong on that, but I have the guts to tell you what I think. Regardless of which scenario plays out, I'm looking for a top. So do we just start going down, or do we get one more pop and then go up? I think that this is still very possible. Selling at the beginning of the week here, we could rally towards the end of the week and complete this scenario for a triple divergence, and see a very similar thing with the MACD. If it turns back up here, it's still in positive territory, by the way. Complacency, a small reaction, the tariff letters and Trump's announcement of the tariff rates, watching to see if we end up getting something bigger. I think these divergences in the daily time frame are coming to a conclusion, and maybe that things up here with either this divergence or a triple divergence. My guess is we're going to get the triple divergence. I'm waiting to play this. I told you I was waiting to play the 60-minute chart. I could be completely wrong about that. If I am, then I'll have to either play momentum or the signals as they flip if we have topped back on the 8th. I think this scenario still has a good shot, so I'm waiting to flip the trade with this scenario. I could be wrong. S&P has lost the upper Bollinger Band already. That's certainly possible that that sparks a reversal, but we're still above this 10 period, and we still may flirt with this upper band some more and end up forming a little divergence on the RSI. The NASDAQ did. It may still form a little triple divergence, or be the S&P moves to a new high, but NASDAQ does not. That often is the case. They diverge at turning points sometimes. Not always, but sometimes they do. Leave the previous peaks that we've had the last two times in July, that they did diverge from one another. And it's going to happen this time, but it could. Watching, do we push up one more time and get a little tiny divergence here? We could see that be the case. CD has not yet rolled over here, and again, two scenarios I'm looking at. One is that we have an extended fifth wave, and this is the first wave of that massive 30% rally, and we have wave 5 here, or we're about to get it to complete the wave 1 in this fifth wave, the fifth of the fifth, completing intermediate wave 5 to complete primary wave 1, and then we'll get primary wave 2. We've had 5 intermediate waves, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, complete primary wave 1, or about to complete it. Alternative scenarios that we're not going to get an extended wave 5 and that will end up rallying up, but it'll probably be closer to the channel line in the weekly time frame rather than the monthly time frame. I covered that in the weekend video in great length and detail. Scenario, we're going to terminate we're going to go make new highs after the next pullback here, but we're going to terminate the rally much sooner. We aren't completing this whole thing as a primary wave 1, but we smaller degree waves that this is primary wave 1. Remember that record rally we have, primary wave 2, and this is an extended wave 3 that's either finished or about to finish with primary wave 3. You'll get primary wave 4, probably pulling back towards the 200 period moving average or just beyond it. And then we'll get primary wave 5, and we'll complete the cycle top, getting the Roman numeral 5 there. Here's 4 over here, 3, 4, 5. Complete the super cycle, and the grand super cycle I have marked. A market top. So we're either going to see this happen here or get an extended fifth. Now, either scenario is possible, but this is a real possibility that rally terminates sooner. This would take us near 6,600, 6,700, somewhere in there. I've looked at the channel weekly chart, and it's right around 6,600 area or 67, low 6,700 area. And I've marked that here for you to see that right now we're stalling right at this trend line here. This is our linear scaling. We're also stalling at a trend line with the NASDAQ 100, but we're stalling with our linear scaling at this trend line right here. We're back testing it. So again, this is where we could see the pullback or just go a little bit higher, slam into the trend line again, and then turn. If we go up a few more days or something, or several more days before a pullback, certainly possible. Those negative divergences, triple negative divergences in the daily time frame are forming. Time is probably short, but if we sell off here, eventually we could go up to this upper channel. Now here, the blue trend line, the dotted blue trend line right here, it would take us a little bit higher. If we exclude the shadow here and here, if we include the shadows, here with our April low connected to these other points, slightly excluding the shadow from the 2022 low, then I have this red trend line, which is just a little bit lower, and that's taking us again to 6,700 area. So just something I'm paying attention to. This channel end up topping rather than sooner rather than later. Trend line right here, again, I talked about these trend lines. At the bottom, we were hitting major support. Well, here we're hitting resistance. So again, you're likely going to see some type of pullback here, hitting this trend line right here. Weekly chart of the S&P. Just know on the weekly chart, these stochastics are at extreme, so you're likely going to see them roll over here. And again, can't go make new highs. Then in the weekly time frame, you could be getting an inside day, or an inside week, I should say, which could possibly mark Thursday as the top. Can't make new highs, but then we start selling off next week and validating the inside day, the bearish Harami pattern, which would be confirmation would be below the low of the 2-week pattern. Things to be paying attention to. Now, if we can go higher, then again, maybe you see price slam up into this trend line one more time, go just a little bit higher, or 9 counts from Monday. Certainly possible. S&P has risen 30% off of the lows when I called the bottom, and again, these trend lines were part of the reason for that, these horizontal trend lines from the previous highs. And here on the NASDAQ, again, we're slamming right up into the trend line. This is the log scaling, though, with the NASDAQ that we're hitting that. It's with the linear scaling with the S&P 500. Again, I think you can get rejection at these trend lines. Now, this is the extended fifth wave here. This may not happen, but it is still possible. And again, I've marked 2 counts for NASDAQ as well, the extended wave and count that we're getting wave 3 rather than wave 1, primary wave 3. Here's the primary wave 1 count on the 60-minute chart, and possible triple diversions here on the 60-minute chart. If we push higher, you start taking out the 50, you start taking out the momentum cloud here in the 60-minute time frame, then it could be done. I could be wrong about it pushing higher. I think you've got a shot at these triple divergences. Wouldn't be surprised to see one more push higher to those weekly trend lines I'm showing you, turn overthrowing our 9 counts. It could play out the other way. I don't know the future. If you know the future, you're one up on me. Just a trader that looks at support and resistance levels. We use mathematically based indicators like the RSI to try to determine, okay, where are we likely going to top? Where are we likely going to bottom? NASDAQ 100 was up almost 17 points, up 0.07% today, pretty much flat like the S&P 500. NASDAQ composite. The rising wedge here, I've got this count marked as, again, primary wave 1, going to get primary wave 2 back towards the 200 or beyond it. This would be our inverse head and shoulder scenario. Certainly possible. This would be the extended fifth wave scenario. Move towards higher levels, that the S&P would move towards a monthly trend line rather than towards the weekly. NASDAQ would join it. Had this divergence right here, that's just kind of given us a mild pullback, at least so far. Markets haven't really been rattled by latest round of tariff news. Still may. Again, just because you don't have an immediate reaction doesn't mean you're not going to get one. We could go higher in order to deceive the herd. The institutions could start dumping. Watching the diversions here. It's not yet completed on the MACD. Got a small one here on the RSI. We're still watching it on the Awesome Oscillator. So again, this is the extended fifth wave scenario as we're wrapping up primary wave 1. Again, we're still above the 10-period moving average on the NASDAQ. Got to drop below that, drop below the momentum cloud here. If we're going to start selling off, we got to see signals flip to bearish. Here's a scenario, again, my alternative count, that not completing primary wave 1, but primary wave 3, and that we have these 5 primary waves that are under construction, currently wave 3, that we're going to finish the cycle top here at much lower levels. The NASDAQ that will sell off, we'll get one more push higher, and then we'll end up topping out. Certainly possible. This would create a top sooner rather than later, which is still very possible. Both counts take us to new highs. Both counts give us a pullback. Here I have marked that we've had this sell-off of an ABC move. I told you that we were going higher to new highs and not going to crash. Bears have been telling us all the way up that it's a bear market rally. I told you, no, it's not. The market has not started yet. We have primary wave 1, primary wave 2, and then we have 5 intermediate waves as primary wave 3. We'll get an ABC for primary wave 4, maybe near a 200 period, not as deep as the other scenario, have a wave 2, and then we'll end up getting primary wave 5, complete the cycle top. So this is a scenario that says we're not going to get an extended wave 5. We're already in wave 3 of the wave 5. The 5th cycle wave, our 3rd primary wave. So that's what I have. I think one of those counts are likely to be correct. We're going to get a sell-off again. Let me be clear. I do not think we're going back to take out these lows. Looking for a top. It may be in. I do not know if it's in yet or not. I think we get one more push higher. I could be completely wrong. I have the guts to tell you what I think. People don't.